Tonight, Wall Street craters as the world reacts to President Trump's sweeping tariffs. The worst day for markets since 2020, wiping out $2 trillion. World leaders hitting back, promising retaliatory tariffs. Stellantis shuttering plants in Canada and Mexico, temporarily laying off nearly 1,000 American workers. The president defending the move, saying markets will boom and he is evening the field. And from phones to shoes, how much everyday items you buy could go up. As analysts say, the move risks high inflation and even a possible recession. The nonstop severe weather, 34 tornadoes reported, at least 7 killed. The dramatic video, an entire roof blowing off. The top peeled off a daycare center. Rivers rising. The urgent rescues. Teen stabbing tragedy. A high school student allegedly attacked by another classmate, later dying in his twin brother's arms. What their father is saying tonight. The Pentagon will investigate the messy leak of sensitive military planning involving major Trump officials. Plus, did a far-right activist meeting spur firings of top national security aides? No place like home, one of the first of its kind programs that lets kids get hospital quality care from home. And there's good news tonight, how Lenny, the giant loggerhead turtle, went from badly injured back to the deep blue sea.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening and welcome. Today, the stock market firmly and quickly condemned President Trump's new tariffs in ways only markets can, painfully. A global sell-off eliminating $2 trillion at U.S. financial markets, which tumbled right from the start of the trading day, never to recover. By closing, the Dow losing just under 4% of its value, the S&P 500 down close to 5%, and the NASDAQ down nearly 6%. A day reminiscent of the start of the pandemic of 2020. The market meltdown, the sharp reaction to President Trump's reciprocal tariffs that he announced yesterday, placing tariffs on virtually every global trading partner and everything, some as high as 50%. It's the president's strategy to charge countries what they charge the U.S. Tonight, the president not giving ground, insisting the country is going to boom. But many businesses that depend on imported products are bracing for impact they say could hit Americans where they live, with higher prices for virtually everything. Christine Roman starts us off from the New York Stock Exchange. Christine, good evening.
Lester, it was the worst day for markets since 2020, and the fallout from the president's tariffs has more economists now warning about the risks of a recession. Tonight, Wall Street sending a clear message about President Trump's effort to dramatically reshape the global economy. Major losses for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ. President Trump taking the drop in stride.
The markets are going to boom, the stock is going to boom, the country is going to boom.
And on Air Force One tonight, saying he is open to negotiations if other countries offer something, in his words, phenomenal, like a deal from China on the sale of TikTok.
The tariffs give us great power to negotiate. Always have. I've used them very well in the first administration, as you saw, but now we're taking it to a whole new level because it's a worldwide situation.
After he slapped steep tariffs on trading partners like China, Vietnam, and India, administration officials fanned out to make the president's case.
For 40 years, we've had an economy that rewards people who ship American jobs overseas and raises taxes on American workers, and we're flipping that on its head.
The administration now defending the formula it used to determine tariff levels. President Trump said it was half of what those countries charged the U.S. through taxes and currency policies, but critics saying it was more arbitrary.
This is the reordering of fair trade. And what happens is people think it's all about tariffs. It's about those non-tariff trade barriers. The United States buys everybody's products. We buy everybody's goods. You just have to treat us fairly.
The European Union and China now preparing countermeasures. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney today vowed to match 25% auto tariffs on imports from the U.S.
Our old relationship of steadily deepening integration with the United States
is over.
Already today, signs prices people pay are rising. Volkswagen announcing it will add an import fee to vehicles to reflect the 25% auto import tariff. Hyundai telling its dealerships prices are likely to rise. Democrats on the Hill are calling the president's trade policies a national sales tax.
We estimate families will be charged $5,000 a year on the purchases they make of imported products.
And despite this promise from the Rose Garden event yesterday,
jobs and factories will come roaring back into our country.
There's near-term disruption. Automaker Stellantis today said it will pause plants in Mexico and Canada, and that 900 workers in the U.S. will be temporarily laid off. And while the president says companies will start to make more products in America, economist Mark Zandi says that will take years if it happens at all.
The tariffs are done under executive order. They're not under law, and they can be changed by the stroke of a pen or the whim of the president. So I just don't see any major company making a big investment in the United States based on these tariffs.
And Christine, a lot of anxiety watching those numbers crossing the screen today when the markets were open. For people worried about their investments, what advice is there tonight?
So, Lester, for retirement savers, the important thing is when you need to tap that 401k or likewise that college fund. Of course, remember, over time, historically, stocks rise. But if you're close to retirement or you're sending that kid off to school, you should be talking to a financial professional. Now, the good news tonight is younger savers, they have time to weather all the ups and downs. Lester?
Christine Roman starting us off. Thank you. It remains to be seen exactly how the price you pay will be affected by these tariffs, but take a look at this. A huge number of smartphones sold here in the U.S. are manufactured in China. Since President Trump took office, imports from there now facing new tariffs of 54%. Many kitchen appliances Americans buy, like dishwashers that come from Italy, part of the European Union, hit with a 20% tariff. And so many of the shoes we wear come to the U.S. from Vietnam, where the tariffs are now set at 46%. Here at home, businesses are trying to figure out how much of these costs will get passed on to you. Brian Chung has that part of the story.
President Trump says his sweeping tariffs on imports will level the playing field for American companies making products in the USA.
And today we're standing up for the American worker, and we are finally putting America first.
But for American consumers, it could mean higher prices on some of the most well-known brands that make their products overseas, if they pass the cost of the tariff on to their customers. By one estimate, higher prices will cost the median household $690 annually. In electronics, Best Buy says they source about 55% of their products from China, and analysts estimate Apple assembles the majority of its iPhones there. In apparel, Nike made half its footwear last year in Vietnam, where Adidas also sourced the largest share of its goods. Tariffs impacting furniture, too. Wayfair says its products come from China and 5 Southeast Asian countries facing tariffs. And one of the bigger categories that could get hit, toys.
Tonka Steel Classics.
Basic Fun, maker of Care Bears and Tonka trucks, says a majority of their products are made in China.
A $29.99 Tonka Mighty Dump Truck, which is our classic, one of our most classic items, that will be a $39.99 Tonka truck this Christmas. There's no other way around it.
Basic Fun saying there are no factories in the U.S. that can make what they sell.
And there's no production here in the United States to shift to.
But in Ohio, the CEO of toy maker Simply 3 tells us he supports the tariffs.
Bringing American jobs back here, that's really important.
His company makes all their products here in the U.S., so he says they won't have to raise their prices.